talking about the saints' holiness because of the love of God's creatures, which is also another scenario of the halo of man, that it doesn't just rest in the woman and her dead men, but even God's creatures are used in a law church for a test to a throne or a law that which practices law. But again, as Jesus Christ has already written through the prophets, the plank, only a sinner, like I go, you are a sinner, I just made that guy a saint if my plank is not cleared in mine own eye, and for me to do such things like a halo and a soul, for me to do such things, I have to clear the plank in my eye. And in this world, I don't think there's a way to clear a plank in an eye unless you are openly with your riches, like the parable of the rich fool who cherishes it within and knows that a lot of things you can't take into heaven with you. So the parable of the rich man's fool and the saint are similar to the same thing as the halo. Is the saint the halo if it is the creature, the covenant, or is it the woman and the fall of man? I'm not sure that a saint would necessarily cause the fall of man, but I can't say because I can't see a spiritual world. I can hypothetically understand it through the literature that is already written, but I wrote that Eve is the halo of man, being a woman and the soul at which she had taken a piece from. If Adam is a saint, then she had taken a piece from a saint and became the halo of the saint, which is the creature, right? In a sense of speaking about the saints, and what made them a saint was being a sinner, not being a good old boy. Being a sinner made them a saint. And those things probably will never change. Hypothetically speaking, a saint would only be a defender and an avenger by defense. Fun-loving, charismatic, omnipotent, all-knowing. The creatures, the love for God's creatures are important because the closest thing to God before Adam and Eve was the creatures. It was the water, and then the earthly creatures and plantation. But the world doesn't see it that way today. A lot of governing systems don't see it that way anymore, and perhaps they forgot who they are or have been wiped. Even creatures do that. The halo. If we don't lead a halo right, like I said, the spirit of man relies upon a man in order to live in a governing system that which most people can't be part of, or how do you say it? It's similar to the Persian prince's army if putting the church in the wrong hands and going to a war of dominance and power and authority, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. Like I said, a defend and an avenger in defense, but I can't say that the woman is the halo of man. I can definitely say that the creature is the halo of man. It was Enoch who was the bones, and Orion who was the skin and the tissue, and Medusa in the brain, and the three lions, the eyes, the heart, and the brain, which was Orion, Zeus, and Poseidon, which is the one who married into the amphitrite and destroyed nearly a shitload of the world. Alright, anyways, that's a whole nother story. The eyes, the heart, and the brain. The brain is one. Medusa and Orion, the tentacles that come down in the brain, the nervous system. Anyway, I have been through a lot in my life. You have to forgive me. I have done nothing but lay in a bed and study. Now I'm awake.